Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. The Barbie doll gets more diverse. We ask what impact blonde and blue-eyed Barbie had on people growing up who were not blonde and blue-eyed. We take a look at some other toys also trying to modernize. Swimming under a glacier to raise awareness of the climate crisis. And a koala getting this done to him is our animals doing stuff. And at the top of our newsfeed, Barbie. Now, a year or so ago, the toy company Mattel launched a new line of the iconic doll. It was called Barbie Fashionista, and it features a far more diverse group of toys for children to play with. It's quite the evolution from the blonde-haired, blue-eyed beginnings of the Barbie doll, and now the company Mattel have announced that they're going to be expanding this range of offerings, selling dolls with alopecia, with vitiligo, more dolls in wheelchairs, more dolls with prosthetic limbs, and with a greater range of skin colors and hair types. And all of this change that Mattel are trying to bring in from this doll that's 70 years old got us to thinking, just how much did that old blonde-haired, blue-eyed Barbie affect young women who played with it? And what benefit will this new diversity bring in? Here's what we found out by asking some of our colleagues.
So I'm a Barbie lover. I still have my Barbies. I actually have a Barbie collection at home. Even this weekend I went out to buy a new one for my collection.
I actually grew up with a lot of Barbie dolls. Most of them were presents from family members. I'm not really sure I wanted many of them, but they were like the logical present that everybody gave young girls back then. By back then, I mean the 80s and the 90s.
I had the Barbie house. I had Peaches and Cream Barbie and some Valentine's Day Barbie. These are the older versions.
I love Barbies. I've always loved Barbies. I still love Barbies. I grew up with Barbies, playing Barbies. For us, it was a time when my friends, my cousins, my sisters, we'd all get together and play Barbies. First thing we would do in the morning is, wake up very early and play with Barbies.
I did grow up with Barbies. I grew up on a farm, so I was looking for anything that was kind of girly and fun, but I don't think it ever really had any impact on my personal image.
For Barbies, back in the days, the standards were very straight. They had straight hairs and they mostly were blonde with blue eyes. Although I had a couple of Barbies with brown hair, they always had a straight hair, and I have curly hair. So I had an obsession about their straight hair, and probably I never connected with them because of the hair issue. And after for a while I started cutting their hair to make them more stylish, to make them look more like me.
I remember I questioned it to myself and to my mom that why don't I have blue eyes? It was my Barbie dolls were always blonde and they used to have blue eyes. And my mom used to say that you're beautiful as you are. You don't have to have blue eyes to be beautiful. So that's how I tackled with this. But it was, as you see your Barbie dolls, you think that's the only beauty definition of humankind, but it's not.
I think if I look back at my childhood and my interaction with Barbie dolls, yes, the color played a big role, that they were white and I was brown, but what played a bigger role was their body type, because they always had they had these proportions that looked perfect. And later on, scientists projected that actually the female Barbie doll wouldn't be able to walk on her legs because of the way she was proportioned. And that's what we wanted to look like. That's what I wanted to look like. I grew up thinking those were the perfect proportions from my bust to my hips, and that's how I should look, and I should have this impossibly tiny waist. And that's what I aspired to be, and I thought that I couldn't be beautiful or accepted, or that I wouldn't be coveted by other people or wanted by men if I didn't look like that. And it takes a lot of time to undo all of that learning. It's not all from the Barbie doll, but a big part of who I was while I was growing up, what I wanted to be, was influenced by these plastic rubber dolls.
I grew up with, a pretty mixed, diverse group of girls, kids, as a military child. So I grew up with Black and Latino families at military bases, and we would play with each other's Barbies. And I noticed when I was young that a lot of them were playing with white Barbie dolls, and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I don't know why it took this long. I think it makes really good sense. I just think they should have done it a really long time ago. But yes, I'm glad they did it, and I've seen some of the new ones and I really like them.
The imagination of a child is very impressionable, and so I would say that yes, I was influenced by Barbie dolls. Unfortunately, what that did was that it limited my understanding of beauty, and so therefore the reality of beauty was skewed. I wouldn't say having a Barbie doll was the only factor that influenced my idea of beauty. I think it was part of the package. There was television, there were advertisements, and together they created a very toxic mix, which influenced the way that I saw beauty growing up.
Did it influence me or affect me in any way? I don't think it did. I don't think it affected me in any way. I just had fun playing with Barbies. I think it's a very good move, by Mattel to be introducing different types of Barbie dolls. Because it really does show how there are different types of people in the world. End of the day, children can see Barbie dolls as all one, just the same way as they should be seeing people, all one, not different in any way.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. Now, the 2020 Oscar nominees all had a get-together to take a photograph as part of the promotion for this year's Oscar Awards. They'll be held on the 10th of February in Los Angeles. The film Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, has the most nominations this year with 11. Now, this video of two astronauts, Luca Parmigiana and Drew Morgan, showing viewers around the International Space Station is putting on the views on YouTube. It certainly was on our editor Louis' screen for most of the day. It was posted by the European Space Agency and offers all you space geeks a look at life on the space station. And from the look of things, looking over Louis' shoulder, these astronauts are really messy. You need to clean it up there, guys. And these two doctors who work at a hospital in Atlanta in the US have gone viral for their TikTok love story, which explains how they met and what they do while they dance. Dr. Fatou Forna and her husband have been watched jamming like this more than 2.5 million times, and that is just on Twitter. Well, back to the toy theme. Faisal has been looking at how some analog playthings have been given a digital update.
This is Story, a toy catapult. The catch here is that it can be used to play app-based games. It's among a new generation of toys that combine the old with the new. Its manufacturer says it wants to make playtime a more sophisticated experience.
Connected play, meaning binding physical play with digital play, is booming. With the new technologies that we are having, we are able now to provide a fluid experience through the physical world and the digital world in a new way and an intuitive way. So we break the barriers in something that is now very simple and cool for kids.
Advances in technology help toy makers copy real-life actions better. Even the traditional toy train set has had a facelift. Take, for example, the Brio Smart Tech train. It's still very much about physical activities. But with the Brio app and an iPad, children can send signals to change the train's direction.
I don't think we're changing the traditional, we're basically evolving it, making it to something else. I mean, we are living 2020 now, kids of today, they are definitely into these things, and we want to be part of that, but we want to make it in a Brio way. So it should still be very haptic play, still physical play.
With the exception of low-tech board games and puzzles, UK toy sales fell by 6% last year. This might be down to the rise of digital games becoming more affordable.
few years ago, to go and buy a console, you could be a few £100s. It's becoming more expensive now. But with mobile gaming, those barriers to entry aren't there. Children have these devices at a very young age. If it's a tablet, and then by the age of 10, really mobile phone starts to take over. What we're now seeing is that there's no barriers to entry.
This may be so, but more traditional toy companies like Lego don't plan to tap into this market.
As Lego, we are deeply rooted in the physical experience. Like clicking bricks together, building something will always be there. But I do also think that the interest of kids for digital is not going away. And in fact, parents are deeply concerned about this as well, because they know that their kids need to learn the digital things for their future. So I think the mixture of both is going to stay, but it's not that it completely switches to the digital, nor will it go back completely to the physical. I think both of them will be there.
And we keep on going around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Now, 1.6 million people have signed an online petition asking the National Basketball Association to change their logo to honour the memory of one of the game's greats, Kobe Bryant, who died in a helicopter crash on the 26th of January. The current logo shows Jerry West, who played for the LA Lakers in the 60s. People online now want it to be updated with a silhouette of Kobe instead, and it's likely the NBA will listen, so great has been the shock and grief at Kobe's untimely passing. The US Congress has written to Google to demand the company stop allowing the promotion of climate denial content on YouTube. In a letter to Google's boss, Sundar Pichai, Kathy Castor says YouTube has been driving millions of viewers to climate misinformation videos every day. She wants the site to stop this immediately and stop monetizing this kind of content and correct the record for those who've been exposed to quack science on YouTube. Now, there are hundreds of Amazon employees who defied the company policy not to publicly criticize the company by publicly criticizing the company during a protest about Amazon's lack of action to avert the climate crisis. Amazon's under pressure to cancel its contracts with fossil fuel firms. Well, this is Delphine Boel. She is a Belgian artist. And that guy in the middle there is King Albert II. He's a Belgian king. He's also Miss Boel's father. Now, that fact has been proven after years of speculation and a paternity case, which has been running for more than a decade. He now admits that Miss Boel is his fourth child. The ruling means that Miss Boel's children can lay claims to parts of the king's estate. And now a British swimmer has completed a feat of endurance which aims to raise awareness about the climate crisis. It was beneath a melting glacier in East Antarctica, and Pugh wants world powers to agree to grant marine protected area status to the region, which could help protect it.
The swim is only one part of this campaign. The most important part is the part afterwards. It's coming to Moscow, going to Washington, going to London, going to Beijing, and sitting down with world leaders and saying to them, this place needs protecting. It needs protecting because all our futures depend on it. And sometimes you get pushed away, but you've got to go back and you've got to keep asking and keep asking. You've got to have that resilience. Ever seen anything as beautiful as this in my whole life, ever.
And last up, you will have seen all the news about the damage to wildlife caused by the wildfires in Australia. More than 1 billion animals have been killed, so videos like this are good to see. Now, this is Charlie, the koala, getting a massage by a keeper at the Australian Wildlife Park. And while his wild cousins have been getting chased out of their habitat by raging fires, Charlie has been doing this, which is good for him. I guess. And that will do from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again tomorrow.